Good afternoon. Welcome to Global News at noon on Memories 96.5 FM. Oyo. First, the top stories. Governor Moino to empower 3,055 households and entrepreneurs with over 600 million naira. Federal government holds committee meeting on new minimum wage today. On the foreign scene, Gabon's deposed president goes on hunger strike. In sports, Erling Haaland scores twice as Manchester City edge close the record Premier League title. Details of these and other stories coming up shortly. Thank you so much for listening to the news of this hour. My name is Nyakno Albert. And now the news in full. Barely a few weeks after empowering 800 budding entrepreneurs with 400 million naira, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Moino, will today disburse over 600 million naira to the beneficiaries of the Akwa Ibom COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus aka CARES Phase 2 at the prestigious Ibom Hall in Uyo as part of activities to commemorate his 1 year in office. According to the AK CARES Steering Committee Chairman and Commissioner for Economic Development, Mbuk, the empowerment program scheduled for 12 p.m. today has the 3,055 beneficiaries selected from the 31 local government areas of the state for empowerment drawn from the 2018 Social Register, adding that the recently updated Social Register will be captured in the next phase of the program. The Commissioner says the empowerment program will witness 150,000 naira each doled out to 1,055 beneficiaries of livelihood grants under disbursement linked indicators DLI 1.3, 18 million naira each to 12 communities for basic projects under DLI 1.4, and over 2,000 entrepreneurs to receive about 240 million naira. Bob, who assured the masses of government's commitment to achieving the goals and objectives of the program, thanked the governor for his unwavering commitment to the well-being of rural dwellers, entrepreneurs, and the vulnerable in the state, maintaining that the program targets vulnerable and poor households in the agricultural value chain, as well as nano, micro, and small enterprises impacted by the economic crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The federal government has summoned a meeting of the 37-member tripartite committee on the new national minimum wage for today in a major effort to beat the deadline following organized labor's insistence on downing tools and declaring a nationwide strike if discussions on the new national minimum wage are not concluded by May 31st, 2024. Recall that organized labor under the platform of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and its Trade Union Congress, TUC counterpart had on May 1st, 2024, in a joint address during the May Day celebration at Eagle Square, Abuja, warned that if, however, the negotiation on the national minimum wage is not concluded by the end of May, the trade union movement in Nigeria will no longer guarantee industrial peace in the country. Determined to meet the deadline and avoid another round of nationwide industrial unrest, the federal government, through the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, has summoned a meeting of the tripartite committee on the new national minimum wage today at the Nikon Luxury Hotel in Abuja. According to reports, among the agenda of today's meeting are presentations by the federal and state governments and organized private sector of their minimum wage proposals, as organized labor had already made its proposal of 615,000 naira wage demand. And still on the national scene, the federal government has concluded plans to ensure marketers open compressed natural gas (CNG) pumps in filling stations across the country. The government said intending retail licensees who would now be required to establish a CNG point in their filling stations before getting final government approval, and have also asked all marketers to commence the process of establishing compressed natural gas points at their filling stations to increase consumer accessibility. The chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, disclosed this during a meeting with key oil marketing companies yesterday in Abuja, adding that the discussion was to address the issues of incessant scarcity of petroleum products in the country and propose alternative solutions. Ahmed implored the major stakeholders to explore the availability of CNG in their gas stations, as President Bola Tinubu has directed that government vehicles to be purchased, henceforth must be CNG powered. Another development, the federal government has charged tax practitioners to work harder in getting more revenue from taxes, stressing that tax revenue is currently the highest income source for the Federation. The government disclosed this yesterday through the Accountant General of the Federation, Oluwatoyin Madain, at the 26th Annual Tax Conference of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria (CITN) in Abuja, with the theme Sustainable Tax Culture and Economic Roadmap for Nation Building. The government pointed out that based on the current high revenue from taxes, members of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee are always looking forward to the figures from the Federal Inland Revenue Service every month in order to have funds to share to the three tiers of government. Madam said, like the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria (CITN), the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is committed to a sustainable tax culture that will ensure the continuous flow of revenues even at an improved level. As Nigerians get lost in production and service industries for flooding the market with substandard products and the non-availability of a platform to protect and fight for consumers, as well as sensitize them of their rights as consumers, the need for consumer rights awareness on the economy has been drawn up, as seen in the yearly practice of World Consumer Rights Day, celebrated every 15th of May since 1983, to commemorate John Fitzgerald Kennedy's address to the United States Congress in 1962. Speaking with our reporter Mary Akpan, Barrister David Akpanofum, a practicing lawyer in Uyo, pointed out that so many residents in rural areas are devoid of sensitization in this regard, despite the existence of laws to protect consumers, which he stated categorically that all consumers are usually at the receiving end. Alpha. Code news already. What? 50. Already enter a good. Oh, well, I can't send young good news. Where I can't send. While stating the present existence of some government agencies working towards the attainment of consumer rights and protection, Barrister Akpanofum lamented the lack of mobility to fast-track their functions to the masses. Narrating his ordeal to our reporter in another locality, a carpenter near Ntipe was of the opinion that as an entrepreneur, most consumer rights are not obtainable in varying situations where the consumer does not stay on appropriate rule of payment. You're listening to Global News on Memories 96.5 FM, and now we move to the foreign scene where Gabon's deposed president Ali Bongo and two of his sons have gone on hunger strike to protest against their alleged subjection to acts of torture and barbarity. Recall that Bongo was ousted in a military coup in August last year, shortly after he won a disputed presidential poll, and was then confined to his house in the capital Libreville, along with two of his sons, Jalil and Bilal. The ruling junta also placed his wife Sylvia Bongo and eldest son Nuruddin in prison, awaiting trial on corruption allegations. In a statement, their lawyers alleged that Nuruddin and Sylvia were beaten and strangled while in detention, adding that Nuruddin was tortured, whipped, and even electrocuted with a taser. The ousted president, aged 64, had led the oil-rich country since 2009 when he succeeded his father, who had been in power for more than 40 years. Gabonese authorities are yet to comment on the allegations. And in Ukraine, Ukraine's military says it is moving troops to new positions in two areas of the northeastern Kharkiv region, where Moscow is pressing an offensive, and one of a Russian force build up to the north near its Sumy region. A cross-border attack on a new flank in Sumy region would likely stretch Kiev's depleted defenders even further after Russia's incursion into the Kharkiv region opened a new front on Friday, forcing Ukraine to rush in reinforcement. Russia has made inroads into the north of Kharkiv region and said yesterday it had taken part of the town of Vovkansk and the border village Burvatska. Ukrainian military spy chief Krylo Budanov says Moscow has already committed all the troops it has in the border areas for the Kharkiv operation, but that it has other reserve forces that he expected to be used in the coming days. And talking sports now, Manchester City took a huge step towards the Premier League title yesterday as Erling Haaland's double clinched 2-0 win over Tottenham to send them 2 points above Arsenal ahead of the final day. In a subdued atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, with Spurs needing a win to keep their top four hopes alive, but knowing a positive result would help their bitter rivals, City went in front when Haaland tapped home Kevin De Bruyne's cross after halftime. City's substitute goalkeeper Stefan Ortega made vital saves from Dejan Kulusevski and Heung-min Son after replacing Ederson, who reacted furiously when made to come off following a blow to the head, but Haaland sealed the victory from the spot after Pedro Porro had fouled substitute Jeremy Doku. The win, City's 8th in a row in the Premier League, means Pep Guardiola's side will be champions for an unprecedented 4th consecutive year if they beat West Ham at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday, with Arsenal needing to win their game at home to Everton while hoping for an unlikely City slip-up. And that's it on Global News on Memories 96.5 FM, but before we go, let's take a recap of the top stars. In the news, you heard that Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino will today disburse over 600 million naira to the beneficiaries of the Akwa Ibom COVID-19 Action Recovery and Economic Stimulus (AKK's) Phase 2 at the prestigious Ibom Hall in Rio as part of activities to commemorate his 1 year in office. The federal government has summoned a meeting of the 37-member tripartite committee on the new national minimum wage for today in a major effort to beat the deadline following organized labor's insistence on downing tools and declaring a nationwide strike if discussions on the new national minimum wage are not concluded by May 31st, 2024. And on the foreign scene, we told you that Gabon's deposed president Ali Bongo and two of his sons have gone on hunger strike to protest against their alleged subjection to acts of torture and barbarity. And in sports, Manchester City took a huge step towards the Premier League title yesterday as Erling Haaland's double clinched a 2-0 win over Tottenham to send them 2 points above Arsenal ahead of the final day. And that's the size of our news package this afternoon, as edited by Nyakno Albert and assisted by the production team. For views and comments regarding our news or coverage of your newsworthy events, you can reach us on email newsroom@memoriesmediang.com or call our Newsroom hotline on 0909 000 0581. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Memories965FM. And now let's take you down memory lane. On this day in 1991, Edith Cresson of the Socialist Party became the first female premier of France, but she lost the office less than a year later because of rising unemployment and declining support from within her party. That's the news. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Nyakno Albert. Good afternoon.